Hello, everyone. Hello to our folks in Liberia and in the diaspora. Welcome to another edition of the Kakis Dialogue, where we attempt to make sense out of the happenings in our country, Liberia. Today is not a very good day because we are reflecting on the sufferings of the Liberian people. They are confronted with poverty every day, and in the face of that, acts that create or increase the poverty in the country will not mean well for our development and our advancement. We ought to be compassionate about people, life, and how they continue to live on a daily basis. We have to have that human feelings, and this is the reason why we thought to have this show today. What we are going to reflect on is the continuous demolition of properties. Most of the demolition exercises are actually taking place by private individuals with support from the court and the police. And but these demolition exercises affect a large group of people within communities, and it is so saddening. I'll play for you a few videos, then we move into our discussion and a commentary on this very important issue. So let me play for you the first video so that you can actually see what I'm talking about. So this is something that I think happened in the New Georgia area. The New Georgia area. I probably should play the video where these people were protesting the demolition. Yeah, so it happened in New Georgia area around the junction. I think there are family that tend to claim a certain portion of the New Georgia land area. And I guess these cases have been in court for a very long time because I don't think that they just prop up. So yeah, this is the New Georgia demolition. A lot of citizens coming off and saying that they want to die. The president tried to resist the demolition exercise. You can obviously see that there is a heavy presence of police. Apparently, they anticipated the citizen protest, and they want to make sure that the demolition goes on without interference.
When you guys ever notice residents who are protesting here, the police are carrying out these residents who are protesting here. The children. Some officers are asking these residents to move. Some rocks are being thrown at the officers. There's a serious tension here. Rocks are being thrown at the officers here who are clearing out these residents. There's a serious tension building up here.
So that is just one of the scene there. I can play you another clip where the actual demolition was taking place around the New Georgia area. A lot of things are actually happening in Liberia. A lot of things are happening in Liberia, and it raises a lot of so these properties are known to belong to private citizens. They're not clearings are going on because the government is trying to build roads or something like that. Although there are instances where the government, was clearing for road purposes, but these are places for private citizens who had their cases in court and the court ruled in their favor, and now they use the police to clear their land. Most of the citizens are complaining that they have not had adequate notice. They have not had adequate notice to be able to evacuate or to be able to represent themselves on this issue. But earlier on, there was a case from the Satan area in district number 8, where a huge portion of land was clear with the presence of the police and the court officials. The land was clear, and a lot of people are currently homeless. Children are not going to school, and some of them claim to be very ill, and they are unable to locate any means to sustain themselves, and so they carry on some of these protests. Yeah, there was a lady. I want to play the video of a lady who was affected by the Satan incident. I want to play you that video. But first, let me play you this one. A victim of the incident as well.
Different thing.
So where do you sleep currently?
Everything.
So when rainfall here, what will happen?
Different thing.
So where do you sleep currently?
I'm on Congo now. I just bring my near, do everything.
So when rainfall here, what will happen?
I mean, most times I be there as. So can you show us?
So can you take us around because we have a different. Yeah, we'll speak to them. So just show us the place. Okay.
So we're going to see.
So we're gonna see exactly where they sleep, and you see, as you can see where they
So
sleep.
this is where he's sleeping right now. So this is where he's sleeping right now.
So this is where he sleeps. As you can see on top of the place where he sleeps, you see this place. The place.
So when you alone sleep here, or you
get wet, you know, you do it. Get wet. I'm at once here now. Everything get wet. Put it around me again. Yeah, and they again they treat. I see now. I'll be there. They will let.
So particular attention should be paid to the statement that the grandma made, that there are many that sleep to that one location, and their sister has just died. Many Liberians are going to die because they have nowhere to go because of these demolition exercises. Many Liberians are going to die because of these demolition exercises. They have nowhere to go, and you see the condition under which the young man and his entire family are sleeping. It is a deplorable condition, and it's a death trap. It's a deplorable condition, and it's a death trap. And I will play you another video of a victim from the Satan demolition exercise also, which is very telling. It's very telling. This lady claimed to be very ill, and as you can see, I think it is true that she's ill. So
I saw it on the social media, and now where you see me, I sick back. If you see me like that, I sick, and now where I sick. And me much when I was the other one where you get somebody, and now I really wow. So much. How you expecting me for me to suffer? I sick. Okay, nobody talk for her. Even our representative priest, he couldn't say anything he was there. When I talk about the power, even though our differences, but I can't always stand for the people. When they call representative, when you tell the cutting your people, say we can't say anything, the law is the law. Then when you represent it now, the people we supposed to be talking for, you standing on and making them homeless. Then you telling the people say the law is the law.
and it's not met. According to you, you need justice. With all of these things that you have said here, if your demand is not met, what would be your next?
So those people, structures were broken down by a private individual in the Satan area who claimed to own the land. But the point is that there is a massive plot of land and people occupy those places for a very long time, and they've been living there. And some of those people who occupy the places, they came and met their parents there. They have absolutely no knowledge how their parents got those places, but they lived there for a very long time. And that is a place that they call home. That is a place that provides shelter for them. And so it's a very sad story that is happening in Liberia now. I mean, you can talk about development and comes with consequences and other things, but in this case, it's not the government development in a way. It's a private individual property. And even if the government is developing, the government development does not trump over the lives of our people. The right of life, the right to life is very important more than anything else. So whatsoever the case is, if the people's lives are in danger, it is the responsibility of the government to be able to intervene. But here is a fellow from the New Georgia area who had this to to say regarding the demolition exercises.
So speaking about exerting all of the legal, all of the rightful channel, like meeting with the local leadership, including the office of the lawmaker. So the lawmaker, is it that you are saying that the lawmaker wasn't informed about this?
Not to acknowledge as well. Like I said, was surprised Saturday. We just heard that old sheriff is here, police were around, and today the process is just fast. Let be clear, Labrador belongs to everybody. Using the name one Nigerian man coming for your people also, now you should ask yourself question. All of those people, these are huge investment. Where are they going? Where are they going? You understand? If that the road process will say, yeah, based on the road issue, yeah, let development go on. But let's assume your citizens, they invested because some of them, they don't want to be languishing around. They invested to carry on the business. But today, because you in power, listen, let me register this. I don't know whether Liberians, they always think. Anytime you vote, the United Party government, it means you are also voting your death or you are voting invention. This is not the first time. The United Party government believe in those who feed spoon during campaign time, those who give them money during campaign time. Once they are in power, they will battle their interest.
So this is the guy's interpretation, and he puts everything squarely on the Unity Party government, even though it's individuals demolition exercises. They are individuals that are claiming those land and not the government. But he claims that some of these individuals have connections with the Unity Party, and therefore the Unity Party is paying them back by allowing them to demolish a lot of structure. Whatsoever the case is, whether he's speaking the truth or not, but that is his perception of things, and he try to draw his correlation with past Unity Party administration. But as a human rights practitioner, my heart is always to the people and the people of Liberia. No matter what the case is, I do not downplay the rights of other people to properties, but I respect the rights of people to life more than I will respect the rights of other people to properties. So if your right to property is encroaching on the rights to life, I think it is responsibility of the government to ensure that the guarantee of the right to property for one person does not trump over the right to life of another. In Liberia, today something is wrong. Homes everywhere are falling. You see zinc sheets scattered around. You see mattresses in the mud. You're going to see children clutching school bags in open fields. And you're going to see mothers staring at robbers that used to be their living rooms. And the question we must ask ourselves, whether we are in government or outside of government, whether we are ruling political party leaders or opposition party leaders, whether we are in the civil society or we are in the business community, we have to ask ourselves loudly and clearly, who gives the authority to turn citizens into refugees in their own country? Because that's exactly what is happening now in Liberia. Citizens are being turned into refugee faster than the war did. Because in the case of the war, the citizens were aware of the war at a distance. But in these instant cases, Most of the demolition took the citizens by surprise. They never had the thought on the second option. And so they got displaced fast. No one is saying that land laws should not be enforced. In fact, we should all protect the enforcement of the law. No one is saying equally that public rules should be blocked. No one is saying illegal structures should be protected forever. No, we want illegal structures to be removed. But enforcement without humanity is cruelty. We got to understand that enforcement without humanity is cruelty. I am not sure that the government, especially the executive branch, is not aware that these situations are occurring all across the country. Enforcement without due process is abuse. And enforcement without safeguard is impunity wearing a uniform. We cannot allow ourselves to displace our citizens, whether intentionally or unintentionally, faster than the war did. Under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, government cannot arbitrarily destroy homes. When most of these people were not party to a land conflict and had no knowledge of the case that matured into the demolition. When the demolition takes place, it almost appears as being arbitrary. There is a landmark case referred to as Serac versus Nigeria. That is from the Ogoni land. In that case, the African Commission on Human and People Rights made it very clear that state must respect housing and state must protect citizens from forced eviction. A state must not render family homeless without safeguards. In this case, we see the police in their regalia and armed in support of a private citizen who is clearing the land that will eventually displace or made homeless a number of citizens. When the police is present on the scene, it means the Justice Ministry is present. And if the Justice Ministry is present, then it means the executive is present. And if the executive is present and the executive does not take into consideration the life of the people, that they are going to be homeless by the demolition, if the executive does not take into consideration protecting the rights of those people who are going to be made homeless, as well as protecting the rights of the person who has won his case in court, then it means that the executive is ignoring the plight of her citizens that are going to be made homeless by the demolition. Article 20 of the Liberian Constitution says no person shall be deprived of property without due process. Article 22 says property can only be taken with just compensation, lawful procedures. So let us ask ourselves, where court order, we're asking ourselves whether court orders were issued, whether written notices were properly served, because you're going to demolish people's structures, whether they were party to the case or not. They ought to have written notices. Whether there were meaningful time, reasonable time for the people to be able to comply. That is for them to be able to think through their situation and find alternatives. Whether families were given alternatives. And where is the compensation? All across Liberia, there are possibilities that people can get involved with land crisis. So anybody listening today could be a victim tomorrow. Somebody can come and claim your land. And if that person is well-to-do, the next time you notice anything is the demolition of your property. Because in most cases, they are not coming directly to those who are inhabiting the land. They are going straightly to the family who sold the land to those who are inhabiting. And in the midst of that, you might not be able to understand that there is a lawsuit in which you have interest as a party. You are completely alienated. You only witness the reaction from the winner of the suit. If that winner is not the person who sold the land to you, of course, what you're going to witness is the demolition of your properties. And that is the situation that we currently find ourselves in. So, in the face of not asking the family or informing the family, giving them notice and allowing them alternatives, and also thinking about compensation, whether it's from the individual or if it's from government, using bulldozer now as the first step is very wrong, to say the least. So when private individual tears down homes without court supervision, that is not justice. That is force. Land dispute do not justify minor destruction or arbitrary destruction. The law does not permit self-help eviction. If someone claims ownership and the court render judgment, it still does not allow you to take away your humanity. You cannot go to war with poor families. These people pray. But here is the most painful truth. Even if a structure is illegal, even if the land is disputed, and even if enforcement is justified, children should not be sleeping in open field. That is failure. To allow our children to sleep in open field, to even allow them not to go to school because of their current situation of displacement, is utter failure. It's not only failure with regards to planning or procedure, but it is failure of leadership. And we should recognize that. You cannot speak of development while citizens sleep under the ring. People are dying. You cannot boast of order while families scatter in panic. We cannot call it progress if the poor pay the highest price. This is not opposition rhetoric. It is something coming from someone who spent almost the entire professional life in the field of human rights. This is a constitutional reality. When enforcement becomes humiliation, when demolition becomes displacement, and the poor are the victims, we will see the law more or less as being selective. The social contract begins to crack. The people made a confidence with the government. Most of these people brought the Unity Party government to power. They were not expecting what is obtaining. And it is not clear whether the Unity Party government sanctioned it. But the evidence is there that there was police presence, which means it is with the acquiescence of the Ministry of Justice, which means the executive is in line with it. The African Commission was clear that development must be proportionate. Eviction must not destroy dignity, and government must balance order with humanity. So if the police is present, witnessing and enforcing a process that destroys dignity, and a process that does not call into order a respect for humanity, then it means that the government, the executive, is sanctioning the inhumane treatment of our people. So tonight we demand that the government paid attention to some of the situations that have occurred and the people who are demanding justice because they were not given adequate notice and their properties were demolished in a flash. The government ought to consider those displaced people and find shelter, reasonable shelter for them. The government ought to establish a transparent grievance mechanism. Some of these people still have contentions that these properties that have been destroyed don't belong to. These properties don't belong to the individuals that are claiming them. Some of these people whose property have been destroyed are claiming to have been on those property for a very long period of time. And by the land law, the statute of limitation will have elapsed. But if the court gives an order, there is a tendency by a private individual to go beyond the landmark that the court has ruled in their favor. And so it is possible that a lot of people whose properties were not at issue could also be affected. Because if the law is strong, it can withstand scrutiny. We must be able to put the law to test. And if the law cannot withstand scrutiny from a committee that is going to be able to review what has obtained, then the Justice Ministry and the police cannot be involved in the enforcement. We cannot blindly enforce eviction when we do not know the landmark that is the eviction is going to cover. Yeah, what it seems in most cases is the exercise of power. And of course, that is what the common people are going to understand it to be, especially when it take them by surprise. Liberia must determine what kind of republic it wants to be. If it is a republic that respects human rights, if it's a republic that respects human rights, or is it a republic where bulldozer moves faster than due process, or one where development and dignity work together? Our country ought to be the latter. And we have to stop homes from falling, and falling to the extent that our people are homeless, are sick, and are dying. But the real danger is not that homes are falling, but that the rule of law is also failing with it. It is a very sad thing in Liberia. Many people will celebrate this, but it's not all about government development. It is about people, private individuals, who claim to have won their cases in court, and within a flash are making thousands of Liberians displaced. This situation could have been coordinated with the Ministry of Justice to save those Liberians who are displaced from the disasters that they are facing right now. We ought to be compassionate, even if we respect development to the point where people structures should be demolished and stuff like that. We should be compassionate for the least. And this is an appeal to government to make sure that they take all of the necessary steps to intervene in the situation of people who have been made displaced as a result of the several demolition exercises across the country. If not for the mothers and the fathers, let government consider the little children. They need to be in school, they need to have food to eat, and they need to be taken care of. Those are our future, and we need to pay attention to that. This has been a Vote 24 TV presentation. Thank you for watching and following. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
you.